Greetings, everybody. It's Pseudo. And will you look at the pink pony? We have a pink pony. Oh, yeah. Pink pony.
Hi.
That's about as much as we get from the pink pony today.
Hello.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Campfire. Don't mind me. I am a little bit, discombobulated today, so I forgot to pour myself a drink pre-show. So I'm just doing that right now. But anyway,
Oh dear.
say hello to the gang. We have Blank. We have Screen. And we
Hello.
have the fabulous Anu,
Hello.
who is a pink pony.
Regret.
A very
Regret is the name of the game today. Regret. God.
Just the image. I mean, sitting on my screen, it's just like in my face. So bright. So congratulations, by the way, to whoever of Anu's guild or art team that decided to throw that. Who put that together for you?
That was Kebab, actually. Yeah, you don't want to know what goes through his mind at all. Like, literally, no.
Is it sort
Although
of
he did
like?
design all the graphics for the website, to be fair.
Is it sort of like?
You made the pornographics for the website?
Yes.
All of
Fair
them.
enough.
Is it sort of like the Reddit of the world in his brain?
I combine Reddit with 4chan and a few other websites that I can't actually talk about here, and yes, that would be his brain in one.
I see. For kebab.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
I'm going to register that
Or
website.
kebab chan. That's it.
Radio, folks. Well, here's what we're going to do. Since we have a guest, we're going to put our guest to the ringer. So, Anu, basically
dear.
what I'd like from you is a couple of things. Now, don't worry. We'll hold your hand through this. It'll be perfectly fine.
Okay.
So, if we can start off, tell people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you're interested in, and then when you're ready, reveal your first question from some more information. In this case, it is 2 truths and 1 lie, in any order you want, and you do not need to reveal what is true and what is a lie.
Okay. Right, well, my name's Anu. I'm the guild leader of a guild called VOTF. I've been doing that for 11 years now, and basically our focus is on the highest level PvP that you can get. We have structured PvP teams, we have raids, or warbands, or whatever hell you want to call them.
So not your typical
And-
PvE raids, it's the PvP kind.
Funny discussion going on inside the guild at the moment, actually, because of some of the information that's come out through Reddit about WildStar, with regards to
War
PvE's
plots and-
impact on war plots. Yeah,
Ah, yes.
so it's a bit up in the air at the moment. We just need to see how much impact it has on war plots before we go ahead and do anything serious. But our main aim is war plots coming with WildStar, and we very recently announced that we were leaving Guild Wars 2.
Is this to draw you into WildStar?
Finally.
We thought we'd give other people a chance in Guild Wars 2.
I was going to say, are you
You know-
leaving because, Screen's there? For those who are unaware, there
We
is a
love
loving
screening in Guild
rivalry.
Wars. I mean, we love hearing Guild Wars. We actually specifically went to certain Borderlands just to play with our friends, didn't we, Screen?
We've done that.
But yeah, basically our main aim anyway is to drum up competition in any game that we go to. It basically over the past few years, a lot of developers have tried turning their games into a den of friendliness and happy, joy, love, and all the rest of it, and that's not what we like. We like something that you can get your teeth into, and you can actually throw all the effort that you could possibly throw at something and then get out of it what you put into it, like we did in Guild Wars. I mean, it's the amount of practices that we did in Guild Wars. We would CTA every night. I mean, the first, I'd say 13, 14 months of Guild Wars, every single night we went out into the Borderlands and as a guild and basically smashed faces with people. And not only that, when the GVG scene took off in Guild Wars, we built up a very big rivalry with a guild called Redguard. Rivalry in every sense of the word. I mean, just the mention of Redguard in the guild's internal forum or on our shout box, it would explode with people saying, no, down with Redguard and all the rest of it. But as we were coming towards the end of Guild Wars 2 and it started taking a turn for the worse, and certain developers kind of had their way with how they wanted the game to go, more in a siege direction as opposed to people actually fighting people. We decided to focus more on the GVG scene than anything else. So, I mean, you'll see from our YouTube channel and all the rest of it, the GVGs that we had with, I can easily say, some of the best guilds in the world. And again, they were putting in pretty much the equivalent effort that we were putting in as well. It was absolutely crazy, some of the effort that these people put in. But eventually it got to the point, Redguard left. Second Law kind of stopped playing so much. We went for 7th and GD then. They were the top two guilds that we could compete with. So we went and fought them, completely annihilated them, and there was just nothing else for us to do in Guild Wars, really.
I see. So basically you developed your arch nemesis and then defeated them.
Yeah. We fought Redguard. They are unbeaten in Guild Wars, I will say that. Well, they were unbeaten in Guild Wars. I hear that they're having a rough time of it because they've come back now, but they just need to redevelop the meta and all the rest of it and just get back into the game, and I'm sure there'll be another force to be reckoned with. But we fought them. We came the closest to beating them, but when they left, the game evolved even further than that. Then the core of Redguard split up into multiple other guilds, which made the competition far fiercer than what it was with Redguard in the actual game. You had guilds like Second Law coming out, you had GD, and you had 7th. All of them basically assimilated certain Redguard core members, which made them far harder to beat than Redguard would have been originally. But then
there were so many of them, or was it just they were able to adapt to their different environments and communities?
The Redguard members themselves, I mean, they've got a core and then they've got an outer core, the same as VOTF. We've got a core that we massage periodically into these completely and absolutely crazy killing machines. Like literally, they will dedicate hours upon hours upon hours to practicing and getting good at a game, whether it be on a macro level, micro level. You know, they go beyond anything that I've ever seen before. That's inclusive of my time in EVE, actually. But basically, the members of Redguard, the core at least, who were merged into other guilds, they added a lot to the other guilds. They took the metagame that Redguard had and then influenced basically a lot of the other guilds around to adapt to that and then to kind of emulate it, but in a better fashion. It was far more, it was superior to the actual tactics that Redguard were using originally, if you understand what I mean.
I do. And now I'm going to demand 2 truths and 1 lie.
Oh dear.
Totally cutting you off in every way, shape, or form.
Fine. I'll talk for hours. I mean,
And
both
you
the
thought
guys
I
can
could
attest to
waffle.
that.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Hold on. I will let you think for just a couple seconds as I say hello to Mad Murdoch. Murloc. Murdoch is it's the A-team thing. I'm thinking about Murdoch. Hello to an engineer. Hello, Sapphine Crash, GE Free. Thank you guys for coming. And the Hive leader, it is good to see you because tonight's scenario question as we get into Campfire stories involves you. That's the only teaser I'm going to give people. But go ahead, my dear. Your 2 truths and your 1 lie.
Okay. I have two foxes exactly, well, I wouldn't say exactly, but around about 3 meters away from where I'm sat right now. Blank Space is laughing and
Because you could hear you looking at it. It's not.
yeah.
It's hard to do like, oh, blah, blah, oh, I love lamb. Are you just saying you love lamb? Like, that's what it was just like.
I had to look at them. You know, they're actually looking at me. They're staring me in the eyes.
I have a calendar on my wall.
This is why.
I wonder if this is a
This
truth
is why he
or a
can't
lie.
do diplomacy, because he can't lie for shit.
No, I find it extremely difficult to be, well, false. I mean, like you can attest to that.
Mark that 11 minutes.
Actually, that's a good call. Let me write that down.
I'm a qualified psychologist and
Qualified psychotic.
what's
Let
the
him-
last?
Let
I
our
kissed a
guest
girl
speak.
and I liked it. Yeah, there you go. There's my 2 truths and 1 lie.
Wonderful.
What were you expecting?
Honestly, I was expecting mention of high heels and maybe a pony.
Oh, there's one of those in my picture actually.
Yes, there
Both
is.
of them.
Yes, there is. And rainbows and unicorns, but we'll move past that. Poor Screen. Screen's gonna have like this indent from his keyboard from all the times he's gonna end up face palming onto the desks. But yes, okay, so all joking aside, let's move into something a little more serious. You have experience as a guild leader, which is a big part of what we're trying to do, is bring knowledge and experience that we have all shared and have to people who are either going through similar things or have future plans or are raising their chalice to the Viking nation as they try to take over the world by raiding it. So, given 2020 hindsight, looking back over your years of experience as a guild leader, community member from your tiniest tot to where you are now, is there any decision that you made where you're looking back, you realize was not the right decision to make? You could have done it better using the knowledge and experience you have now. What is that and why?
My biggest regret in any game came from Aeon. High Screen.
I was just waiting for Screen to go, was it because I killed you? Let him be
Okay,
serious, Screen.
I know. I'll leave this alone. I'll let him talk.
So, you've all heard Screen and what his best achievement was and rallying the troops, or rather the pigeons, in order to kind of defeat what they saw as the big bad. What a lot of people didn't realize when that was actually happening was that there was pretty much no lead guild in charge of the Asmodean outside of VOTF and myself, and it was all stacked on our shoulders. Like literally, we had around about, I'd say, 20 other guilds that we had to micromanage. I even had to join 6 of them in order to manage them internally beyond my own guild. It was crazy, and it basically dedicated months of my life to that game in order to get us to where we were. And what happened was the pigeons were dominating for quite a while, around about 3 months, I think it was, where we really couldn't do that much because the way that Aeon worked and the Abyss worked, if you controlled a fort, you got into the instance that then gave you the Abyss points that gave you gear, weapons, all were able to make you transform into these huge, badass, like AoE monster things. And the pigeons had a lot of these transformations. There was very little that we could do in terms of combating their transforms. We had 3, but they had something like 30, which was completely crazy, and that was because of existence, not Boon or Afterlife, by the way.
No, that's fair. Cool.
When those 3 months, during those 3 months rather, I put a lot of effort into organising the guilds. We weren't ready in any way, shape or form to actually take the fight to the pigeons, or the Elios, as they are actually known. Then basically 2 weeks lead time. I told everyone, be online on this day at this time. There's going to be mass sieges. You know, there's going to be like, you could plan when there was going to be like a 3-hour siege block. Each siege lasted an hour, but on some certain nights there would be 3 siege blocks where all the forts would go up. I predicted that anyway. It was kind of obvious when it was coming. During that time, we took everything, like literally completely and utterly annihilated every pigeon within sight. It was just complete carnage. And we held that for, how long was it for, Screen? It was about 2-3 months? Was it about that long?
Something like that. Wasn't a huge amount of time, but it was a decent amount of time. It was like 6 weeks, 2 months, something like that.
But the problem was that I put too much effort into it. I dedicated my life to actually getting that organized. Whereas the Elios had, they had Katie Chops, they had Screen, they had Angane, they had multiple leaders that were able to shoulder the burden of practically everything that was going on. It was just me on the Asmodean side. And I just got burned so hard. I literally couldn't open the game after that. So at that point, I decided, okay, that's it. I'm going to merge some of the VOTF members into this other guild that I've been managing for a while. I trust the officers in that guild, so they're going to move over, and that's it. I'm actually going to leave Aeon. And that was easily the worst decision that I ever made, because within 2 weeks, the pigeons had taken everything back. All that effort was for absolutely nothing. And if I could change it, I'd have actually allocated some of that burden to other people to manage. I mean, there were other people that were helping me, but it was for me to pull together. If I was to do it again, I would actually allocate some of that work to a lot of other people rather than burn myself out and completely and utterly waste around about 3 months of work.
Was it really your choice to take on that burden, though? Did you just decide, I'm going to do this? Or did you actually feel you couldn't do anything but that? Did you feel obligated?
There was no other option. There was literally if I didn't do it, no one else was going to do it, and then that would have meant that the game would have been boring for the Elios. The game would have been boring for us. People would have quit, and the game would have died a lot quicker than it did. Whereas with the way that people started stepping up, inclusive of myself, the game lasted far longer than it would have. And I really wanted it to last a while.
I think that's an interesting concept that I know that a lot of, I'll just say MMO communities are starting to realize, is that if you really want a successful game, you really need to work with your community. And what you're saying right there is kind of proof of it. I mean, if you don't have those strong go-getters and those strong people standing there going, hey, you know what? I have something to say, and I'm going to keep the game going because I'm actually doing what's required and what is a big part of this game, which in Aeon's case was a lot of the battles that were between the different factions. I mean, it was a PvP game. So, by you guys being the self-starters for that, you've made it successful. As to whether or not it's officially died out, I think it depends on who you ask and stuff. But, hey, that's how it works. So now I'm going to pick on you and ask you what your number one biggest achievement is, where in your community or guild you feel the greatest sense of accomplishment. And I am going to immediately disqualify your current picture.
Biggest achievement. Oh, God.
This is the biggest sense of achievement that you receive. Your number one, boom! This is the pinnacle for me.
That's hard, because there's
What's funny is I specifically said, do you want to think about perhaps what you want to have for these answers? Because it's not like we hide these questions from people. I mean, the three of us here in this row have answers.
It's almost like we've done it before.
I know.
Once or twice?
No, just the once. You probably missed it that one time we did it. Mark that one.
Let's see. That's 20
minutes.
after.
Yes!
We're going to start keeping a swear jar. And we'll just
I'm going to pay for a new mic for you soon.
You will?
I'll pick one for him if he doesn't pick one.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the thing is, what's interesting is you could pick very easily something that is the achievement of the entire community that you've done. Or he could actually turn it completely around and say, for me as an individual, for what motivates me as the person who willingly takes on the guild leader hat, I'm going to pick something else because that's really meaningful to me. It was accomplished because the guild or the community existed. So I'll be curious to see whether he takes that community route or if he takes it a bit more personal. So, Anu, what's your answer?
I think it all
brilliant
basically
answer.
devolves into the same thing. Biggest achievement is being a guild leader consecutively for 11 years on the Tron.
Has he answered yet?
He has. And you missed it.
Yeah, screen, my God. But 11 years is a long time to actually dedicate to anything in life, let alone an online guild. You know, I mean, and I definitely wouldn't have it any other way. I definitely wouldn't. It is so rewarding to actually be a guild leader and to go through some of the things that I've actually been through with regards to separate achievements that we've had.
I can completely understand that as someone who has been there and all the other good things that go with it. Yeah, there is a true sense of achievement and a true sense of accomplishment, but if you don't have the support structure to help you, it can be very bad. But now we're going to move into what is really the meat of our show, which is our survival guide, where we, every week, take on a particular part of guild and community life, look into it, dig into it, discuss things, and give ideas, opinions based on our own expertise and that of our guests. In this case, it just so happens to be a unicorn. So, and today we're talking about the Guild Gateway.
Unicorns. Oh, okay.
Rainbows and all kinds of stuff. No, we're talking about the Guild Gateway. Last week we talked about recruitment. We had Vistholm from Ladies of the Round Table on with us, and we were talking about the recruitment process. Now, the recruitment process can involve the discussions with people, or actually, should there be an application? Should there not be an application? However, not everybody gets introduced to guilds through that process. That's just a step to get into the guild. What people usually end up having to go through is the Guild Gateway, which could be the person who's spamming Trade Track going, hey, if you're looking for a guild that has X, Y, and Z, whisper me. Or it could be, hey, have you seen this website? This website's really cool, and you can see all this kind of crazy stuff on it. Or it could be just that you saw a random tweet from somebody, or you saw a YouTube video of some epic thing that occurred that you're interested in, be it PvP, PvE, combination of both, or roleplay. So what we're going to discuss are the different gateways, and also look a little bit into what we believe are good things to have. So, for example, I will hop on first. I will state that in today's day and age, websites are important. If you don't have a central place for an online community that is online, separate from the game, to have discussions, community talks, etc., it can be really bad. But the guild website, to me, is incredibly critical because you need to have your rules, your statement, your mission goal, and you need to have it written transparently, black and white, or whatever colors you choose to make your website. But if you don't have those, you're basically screwing over future candidates and current candidates. That's my opinion on that. However, there are tons of different gateways that we could talk about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick on various people. Now, because Anu talks a lot, we're going to make him wait. And instead, I'm going to go over to you, Screen, who is sitting in a poor closet. Hopefully, Screen, you won't be in a closet for much longer because, seriously, dude.
Oh, next week I move and I have internet. But until then, yeah, we'll try and get a word in edgeways before my internet dies here.
Yes.
Yeah.
But go
so
ahead.
my opinion on the Guild Gateway is pretty much what you said at the end of the day. When you've got a recruitment drive ongoing, your Guild Gateway is going to be, or your Guild website is going to be one of your main focuses for people coming into there. It's the first thing that people look for, assuming that your pitch has been good. I mean, putting the whole aspect of your pitch to one side, if someone gets to the end of your pitch and they want to visit your guild, then they're going to go there to look at other things. I mean, anyone looking for further information is going to obviously want to look at things like YouTube videos. They're going to want to see what kind of social interaction you've got with other guilds and with other media points of interest. But at the end of the day, this is where someone's going to get their first real taste of what your guild's about. It's your chance. That front page of your website is your chance to say, this is who we are. This is whether we are that one step above another guild. End of the day, without making it sound like I'm getting down on things like engine and guild launch, which I'm not. But if you've got a guild that have got a generic guild launch template that doesn't have any effort into it at all, and you've got a guild that have custom coded a website that looks shiny, flashy, and as if it's had thousands of dollars spent on it, then someone's going to tend to take more time looking at that than they are at something that looks like it's been built out of a PHP bulletin board. End of the day, it's your first impression, just like you might want to be interviewing someone else. They are essentially looking at your company before they apply. So you want to make that impression, and it's to the detriment of your guild if you don't make the effort on your guild website.
Now, see, that's interesting to me because there are some people who could easily argue that if you spend so much time working on your website, you're not putting enough time into the actual management of the guild. This is one point of view to it. Now, another point of view to it could be you have a group of incredibly skilled players, just none of them know how to code or none of them know how to do a website. I think there is something to be said for custom things when it comes to design. However, there is also the pitfall that you can fall into if you do something custom, where if it's not completely 100% done, it can bite you in the butt. You know?
100%, but that doesn't. But what I'm doing is I'm making slightly generic statements here and trying to pick things that are as far apart as possible in terms of those generic statements. So at the end of the day, you could have a fabulous company out in the world and you want to try and attract people to apply for jobs, sales jobs or whatever for it. If your advert in the paper is 3 lines of text saying, we're a great company, come work for us, or it's a half-page spread, people judge things on how they look at the end of the day. So now, people are judgmental.
Now, see, that's the thing. One of the things we talked about last week was that whole, oh man, I have to fill out this application. Oh my gosh, I have to go through this interview process. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. Yet, one of the things we tried to stress to people last week, and I'm going to stress it again because it's so important. When you're going through an application process or a research process, you're not the only one being interviewed. You have the right, the choice, and the desire. Interview the guilds. Now, Blank, give us your thoughts on the guild portals and websites and all the other good stuff that goes with it.
I won't speak to so much the portal, but the changes, because I want to highlight that. Back in the day, whatever that is for your experience, it was trade chat. It was, hey, come join our guild. Nowadays, that scene, that landscape has changed. It's social media. It's YouTube. It's no longer that in-game drive that goes directly. It's not just a guild of 40 people in this game. It's these communities. It's this much, much bigger picture. So I find that, yes, it is nice to have a website because that is a central place for information. But I'll even let you know that for the way that even my organization works, we use the forums for broad conversation, things like that. We use it for very specific conversations. But let's not forget things like Google Drive, because with Google Drive, I can instantly, on my phone, be sending stuff to people back and forth. I can review it.
There's something to be said, though, from back in the day when Google Apps was actually free for small groups. It's not free anymore, which doesn't make it as easily to just get your hands on and go, woohoo, we've got this, and it's easy, and we get all this stuff, because now you have to pay for it. If you had it in the past, you didn't. You could actually get in under their free thing. So, that one, I understand the desire for collaboration, and there are a lot of collaborative tools out there that are free, things like Trello, things like Evernote. There are things you can use to do collaboration for free, but unfortunately, in today's day and age, Google has kind of screwed over the tiny little peeps who just want to run little guilds, of only 400 or 500 people taking down world bosses in a digital manner. Darn you, Google!
I feel like I remember, like, our recruitment process was very much, we're going to have somebody, their job is to say this in trade chat, or their job is to do this. The focus wasn't these other gateways in. It wasn't focusing on social media. It wasn't like watching what like, I'm watching what other people are doing so that I can emulate, I can break it down, I can use what I can use. All that stuff was not there. We're now in this very complex age where the guild gateway can come from so many different places because there's so many people.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you there. Now, Anna, you've been around the block for a while.
You could say that.
You have happily led your guild for a very long time. Have you seen the evolution of the gateway as well when it comes to things like recruitment or getting the information out there? I mean, do you guys do any focus on social media? Do you guys just say, we'll just run around, and if someone taps our shoulder and wants to join, we'll send them to a website? I mean, what is it for you, as in particular for VOTF? What is your guild portal process, and what importance do you put on everything?
We're very particular about the people that actually join the guild. I mean, the experience that we've had with people joining willy-nilly, because we have done that as well. I mean, you can separate recruitment into casual recruitment, where generally people just say, yes, you're invited, there you go, join, be nice to each other, and spread love. Then you get the somewhat semi-casual, where you get to talk to someone, they explain to you what's happening in the guild, and then it's basically go forth and prosper or do whatever the hell you want. Then you get the very focused and driven applications, which is the category that VOTF is basically part of. And the one thing that we focus on hugely, not only skill, but attitude, that is the biggest part of any application for us. If we get an application that is below a certain, I wouldn't say quality, but length, because, I mean, you can't
standard
take
maybe
quality. You can't do it. We've had this discussion internally quite a few times, and there are non-native English speakers. There are some players in the world that find English very difficult to deal with, and they may give absolutely dreadful applications, but they may be one of the very best players that you could ever meet. That is something that very few guilds actually look at. And when someone gives you a crap application, it's not just to say, okay, no, get away, we don't like you. It's more, you contact them, you talk to them, you ask them what they've played, you ask them if they got videos of their gameplay, you ask them for their achievements, what have they actually done, have they achieved anything, have they gone into structured PvP with people, have they won tournaments? You know, you look at that aspect as opposed to how pristine their application is, because there are certain people out there who can turn crap into gold, basically.
I completely
And those
agree
people
with you there.
are the most dangerous that I've ever come into contact with. The people that are able to turn their inability to do things and their badness into something that they feel is good, and then they can't see within themselves what is wrong. And the other big part that we deal with is how you take feedback. If you're not allowed to take feedback, if you can't take feedback, if you fight against feedback, then there is absolutely no point in you even attempting to load our website. There is no point, 0 point. We will tell you how we want you to play. We will tell you the build that we want you to play, and you will be told how to play. We will actually teach you. But if we can't teach you, get out, basically.
I see a bouncy head from a blank there. One of the things that you stated, which I think is incredibly important, and within the guild that I'm in, it's a very, very, very important thing within our application process. We like to know where somebody is located in the world. Basically, what country do you come from? The reason for this is, depending upon the culture of the country that you are from, you will either give, like you said, those dead direct answers that seem to not quite be full of personality, where you might be looking to have personalities or to try to figure out who people are, sometimes you have to go beyond that, because a direct answer is just naturally part of their culture. And there has to be a cultural understanding if you're going to do an international guild. Now, I find it interesting that you're all about feedback. I just have one question from you before I'm going to get a simple 2-statement, 2-sentence response on anything anyone wants to add about guilds. Do you, as an individual, accept feedback from the people who are in the lower ranks or below you?
Something that VOTF do actually is we privately stream our gameplay, and we allow pretty much anyone in the guild to watch our gameplay, how we play, what we do. And then we pick things out against each other and say, you did that wrong, you did that wrong, this is what you did wrong here, that's why you died there. And that is how we improve. It's not basically, and don't get me wrong, there are certain times where I'm absolutely screaming down TeamSpeak. I will go absolutely crazy with people because there was a big play that just failed due to one individual.
Out of curiosity, are you playing with paper?
Me?
Yes.
No. A screen with his head.
Stop moving your head screen. Your microphone's rubbing.
But if you expect to play at the very top level and with all there is to gain and to lose, you shouldn't expect anything else. People are going to get angry. People are going to get annoyed. To think that it's all going to be frilly and love and joy and all the rest of it is to just lie to yourself. That's not how gaming works. You know, and you see this on forums. You see people arguing about casual versus hardcore and about how casuals hate hardcore players. Yet these casuals are trying to actually emulate these hardcore players, but are unable to because they just don't have the mindset. It's actually quite frustrating to read some of those posts as well and to digest them, because you try to explain to these players as well, and you try to explain to these people that your mindset is a huge part of how you improve. And without that, you're not going to improve as much as you possibly could. And then they fight back against you because they just don't have the mindset. It's mind-boggling. It's crazy.
I think we have found the topic in which to bring Anu back for a future show. Just a small one. But yes, go ahead. Give yourself, Anu, 2 statements about guild portals before I bring us into our campfire story scenario, where we learn about a problem that may or may not exist between Suliko and the Hive leader.
Okay, so 2 statements about
guild portals. If you could say, state one thing that you wish people knew and one thing that you believe people see as truth but is actually a myth.
Okay. A guild portal should be there mainly for your guild. It is not there to basically embrace the outer world. I don't believe that, and no one else should believe that. If you want a guild portal that's functional and able to do what you want it to do, it needs to be inward focused as opposed to outward focused. YouTube is there for outward focus. If you want to prove your worth, use YouTube.
All right. Next up on that one, Screen.
Ooh. Oh, you wanted 2 statements from me after my rant?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. In response to what Anna would say, just remember that people applying are judgmental. At the end of the day, they're going to judge you on your guild portal. And as well as that, remember that your website isn't your only portal.
Well, that's something to be keeping in mind. What about you?
I'll finish that statement off from Screen. Diversify. Your website is not the only way people are going to come in. You want to expand your impressions, your name. YouTube is nice, but there is so many venues out there that you may never know. Whereas Anu's not looking for somebody to make him a new graphic. I wish he would. You never know when that post somewhere.
How can you not like it? Like, it's amazing.
It makes my eyes hurt. I wish I could take them out for the rest of the interview. But you never know when you may find an asset, you may find a member, you might find something out there that comes from what we used to, what what I consider non-conventional places. So, diversify.
Fantastic. And I myself will add in be truthful. Don't bullshit. There you go. 41
Mark
minutes.
that down.
Oh,
41
yeah.
minutes.
Wait. She's had one. You've had one. I've got like one ever.
I think it
This
was.
is
Okay, you'll be able to get one in today. But yes, be truthful and be clear. If you are going to have the kind of culture and environment where you're going to have your big boss step on you with high heels and yell at you, put that into a visible place on the site. Be very clear. And my second thing is thinking
high heels on the website.
It'll probably be done by the time the show is over. But the second thing, one of the biggest myths that people have when it comes to anything that has to do with a guild gateway, be it the website, be it the recruitment process, be it social media, be it anything like that, one of the biggest myths people have is that once it's done, it's done. A guild gateway, be it your recruitment process, be it the people who are going to do it, be it the places you go, be it the social media, be it the website, need to evolve with the community or guild. Don't get caught being stagnant because that is when you'll have people coming up to you going, yeah, but rule number 4, subsection B, part C states this. And you're like, well, we changed that 5 years ago. Evolve. And don't be afraid to change. Just be true to yourselves. Now we're going to get on to our campfire stories. Now, this is yet another story sent in by Stout Pint. Stout Pint is becoming a fount of stories for us. And for those who are unaware of what Campfire Stories is, it's where we have people send in scenarios and we tackle them. And I have a feeling that today's show is going to be a little longer than normal because we want to fit everything in. So, yeah. I don't want to hold people back or force them to keep their answers short just because I want to make certain we cover these things. If you have a scenario you want us to tackle, please go to MMOBuff.TV, click Contact Us, fill in the form, make certain that you're sending it to the Campfire, and I will bring that scenario to the next week. So, our scenario, and I will quote, the names in this have been changed to ensure maximum trollage. So this has come from Stout Pint. So, my 3 lovely guild members, guild leaders, and guild officers. You are in a 40-man raiding guild. There are about 60 active members, 20 of whom are core, who turn up regularly. The other people being mediocre, at best. Despite slow progress, there's a lot of banter, the raids are rarely boring. Now, Suliko is our guild master for this guild, and also the raid leader, and is fine with the situation, preferring to lead from behind and let the guild develop at its own pace. However, the hive leader, one of the more vocal officers in the guild, is very frustrated, since there is a new raid out, which other guilds are clearing, while your guild is still currently stuck trying to beat your head and whatever other parts of your body against the brick wall, the noob killer, the latest boss. One day, Suliko is absent due to an emergency, so poor Suliko goes to take care of all the roused hours that she keeps making me. And the Chompacabras. Just gotta get that one in there. And as an emergency, she leaves, leaving Hive at the helm. Unlike Suliko, Hive has a very short fuse, rages constantly, chews people out for their mistakes. Sounds a little bit like Anu in a way. Maybe we should change the name to really troll. But anyway. Ultimately, though, Hive brings the kills for the raid. Seeing the results, the core progression group suggests that Hive should also raid lead, to which Suliko reluctantly accepts, though it does take some weight off of her shoulders. Not long after this, you notice Hive is purposely holding strategy meetings when Suliko is not online with the other officers, and is basically acting like the guild master. Now, you're worried about the future of the guild at this rate. What do? Now, normally I'd open this up and just say, here you guys go, answer this. But I think there are many sides to this story that need to be tackled. So basically, we're going to roleplay, which is my way of saying, hi.
I didn't sign up for this.
What I'd like to see is from you, Blank Space.
Costumes.
From you, Blank Space, pretend you're in Suliko's shoes. You know, you are having someone come to you with this issue. So I'll tackle that from you as if you were Suliko. What I am going to have is, for you, Anu, you're going to be the hive leader in this. You are the raid leader or the officer who stepped up into the raid lead spot. You're holding these meetings. Maybe there's a purpose, maybe there's not. From you, Screenager, I want you to be one of those core raid members. You're part of the team. You're part of the group. You see this happening. You could come to Suliko, and I myself will just be one of the other members in the guild. I'm curious as to what you think the impact is going to be to each of these individual members of the community. Do you think that they will know? Do you think that they will care? Do you think that there is an impact? Why would the hive leader have these meetings? Why would Suliko allow them? And why would Suliko not have certain policies in place that maybe might have helped? So let's start off with you, Blank, aka Suliko. And I am so sorry for making you into the woman who makes me my toys, but I'm really curious in how you would see this. So you have someone coming to you, Suliko, aka Blank. And you are basically being told, the hive, he's doing evil things.
Oh, well, I don't know so much about roleplay. Y'all have to donate to charity.
Oh yeah. We
for,
could do
for
that.
dresses and whatnot. But what I'll say is, from the way I see Suliko, if you're a leader who doesn't see potential in your officers and you do not encourage them and grow them in their strengths, help them with their weaknesses to push your people forward, you're a crappy leader just in general. So if I'm Suliko, pretty much, yes, Hive is running around doing stuff, but that is a motivated, yes, it depends the type of guild that you are in this. You know, there's 60 people, 20 are actually core, so it's a really awkward setup anyways. Guildmaster raid leading is always a pain in the butt. However, not letting somebody else who's more efficient or more effective, raging, whatever, rage has its place. Chewing people up for their mistakes, if it's getting people to look at and critique themselves and fix things, and that's why this boss went down, who gives a shit if they got...
Yes!
Wait, no, Cable, count it. You can drop an S-bomb. If he's getting results, then honestly, it's fine as long as it's not creating turmoil in the 40, 20 man, whatever those weird numbers were. Then it's fine. As long as the people who are, as Anu was going to say, the semi-casual or the wannabe hardcore people aren't having an issue with the pacing, you're not doing your job. Sukulo is not doing the job at all. Should be encouraging somebody to raid lead if that's where your organization wants to go. So
do you think it's possible that in this scenario, Suliko doesn't have a direct understanding of where the guild should go, and maybe that's why the Hive is quote-unquote stepping up and doing things behind closed doors?
Well, again,
But this is all speculation because these things do happen, and these are part of motivations for why. I mean, there's no way, unless we decided to sit down for 3 hours and really hash this out, for us to rip apart, literally, because there are so many different parts and pieces to this, which is why I'm taking this particular scenario this direction. Because if we were just to go, hey, we're Suliko, we're going to do this. But the reality is, this impacts more than just one person, more than two.
Okay.
So
basically, if you're leading, and everybody here has been a leader at some point, or still currently, you don't know what's going on in your organization, you are a crappy leader. You are not doing your job. You don't necessarily have to have your hands in micromanage. Some people do, others don't. But if you are not aware of the inner workings of things going on, you don't know where your people want to go, I call myself the boat steer. I just steer the boat where we kind of want to go. If you don't know where your boat is going, somebody else is going to try and help you out. Necessarily, maybe not take over your position, but where there's you have somebody that wants to see some things happen and they have the ability to, why would you not be encouraging this?
Okay. And I am going to also state, for the record, in public places, this is not really Suliko's personality. It is, however, Hive's true personality. No, I'm just joking. These names were specifically picked by Stout Pint, I think, because the Hive leader and Suliko are active participants within our shows and the chat. So it's really a matter of love that you guys got trolled in this. But yeah. Okay. So, Anu, we're going to actually move into you because I think it would be interesting to get what you would think would be Hive's motivation out.
Improvements. I mean, that's basically the core behind it. He wants to improve. The fact that they're failing to get this new boss down is more than enough to drive him to take over and try to organize these meetings behind the guild leader's back. But both are wrong in this instance. Both sides of this are completely wrong in the way that they both approach it. The guild leader's wrong in the sense that they aren't taking into account their officers' opinions. That person wouldn't be an officer if they weren't valued and if they didn't know what they were doing, unless someone was running a complete shambles of a guild. That officer shouldn't be going and briefing, inverted commas, behind the guild leader's back. If you want to run a guild that is worthwhile, you need a core of leadership that is able to tell each other absolutely anything. And I mean anything. Nothing is out of bounds, like literally nothing is out of bounds. But most of all, it would be the guild leader's fault, because that's where the buck stops. That's where it all goes to. If you're a guild leader, or if you've been a guild leader, you'll fully understand this. If something goes wrong in your guild, no matter who it is, it's you. Your fault, your problem, you deal with it. And if you've got an officer that takes liberties or goes too far, then you either need to tell that officer to stop, or you need to embrace the idea of that officer taking a bit more on. Now, there's a big problem with, well, there's two big problems with guilds, actually. The first one is the guild leader taking on too much and not letting other people... There's just not enough. And there are too many people out there driven by their own ego. And that is the biggest killer of guilds and the biggest killer of guild leaders. Egos kill. Seriously. It will completely screw up years and years of... Pink suits, yeah, definitely. It will just destroy everything that you've worked towards, you know. And again, officers are able to actually do the same thing. So you need officers that you trust, and you need to be open with those officers. If you feel like an officer is trying to take over the guild, just approach them, talk to them. If you feel like it, say to them, why are you trying to take over the guild? It's quite obvious that they will have something to react to or something to say about that. But the other problem that guild leaders have is, in place of delegation, they make too many rules. And they run by this charter that is about 50 pages long, and they have a rule for everything. You have to wear blue on Monday and gold on Wednesday, pink on Thursday. It's nonsense, absolute nonsense. I mean, some of the stuff that I've seen on some new guilds coming out, like these things that they're putting up, and it makes me want to cry. Like, literally, it's not a prison camp you're running. It's a guild. You need to work together. It needs to be organic. It needs to evolve around a game. The guild leader doesn't know the entirety of a game. You can't go put in rules. Like me now for Wildstar. I would never, ever consider setting rules up around Wildstar. I mean, it's just something that I couldn't do, and it's something that no one else could do, because, I mean, we haven't got a clue what's going to happen. We don't know how certain things are going to evolve. We don't know how the meta is going to evolve. We don't know how certain things will turn out eventually. You know, it needs to be a group-focused moving forward, rather than the guild leader leading from the top. It's the guild leader leading from the middle.
Okay. Now I get where you are coming from, Anu / Hive leader / driven officer. Screen. You are the core raid leader, not raid leader, but raid member. You are now seeing successes, progress, and everything else that goes with it. And you see all this happening. What would go through your mind if you were witnessing this?
Initially, it's very much split from a position of someone who's part of a core raid group in this sort of situation. You've got Blank, who's typing really loud. What? I
just like how he tries to look innocent. Not doing anything.
No. So you've got your guild leader who has clearly established some sort of guild that's got a core raid group. Now, whether he's tried to establish that or whether it's just evolved as is, and the guild lead sounds like the sort of guild lead that have evolved this guild is kind of easygoing, laid back, not really pushing it, but a core within that are wanting to raid. You're from a core raid perspective, you're like, yes, we're getting kills, we're moving forward, we're starting to get progression. At the same time, you start to feel bad. You clearly entered a community. You've got a guild lead that you are essentially kind of starting to move at odds with. And you get worried that the people that are less hardcore with the raiding are going to be either split off from you, or in fact that you're going to end up finding that your core raid needs to leave the community to progress. So you're worried about what's going to happen to those social aspects that you've already kind of established with people. And it feels almost, to some extent, some people feel like it's almost betrayal. You feel caught in the middle. There's not a huge... And to be honest with you, like Anu has said, at the end of the day, the buck stops with the guild lead here. Unless you've got unless the core raid group are willing to step up and do something about it, and pull the raid lead and the guild leader aside and get them to sort their shit out, which clearly I've just dropped another one. Clearly they've not done, then it's kind of hard for them to do anything. It's a very difficult situation to be in, and frankly, you can but make the best of it it's very divided situation.
That is something that I think some people tend to miss, is the impact that it's had when you have people at the top doing something. It doesn't just affect them. It affects everything else. Now, if I look at it from the perspective of I'm just one of the people who happens to be in the guild, I'm not one of the core raiders, but, I occasionally show up when people have raids. I'm going to probably find myself very torn, just like a core raider would. My tearing would be based on the fact that I'm noticing a culture shift in the guild. I am noticing a different drive, a different direction than what was originally handed to me. Because if, the raids were never boring and it was usually Suliko who was guiding me and things seemed to be going okay, and there was not this authoritarian, divisive, loudmouth, raging, I almost want to say alcoholic, but the Hive's not really an alcoholic. So you almost have this abusive kind of leader, which I may not have signed up for. So that's going to actually change the culture of the guild. If the people want to take that and let that be the number one drive and let that be the way things go, I'm going to start going, what am I really looking for in a guild, and is this it? And when you start having problems like that, where you have a guild leader who doesn't take responsibility, where you have officers who may want to do things, but the way they're doing it is subversive. If you have that kind of happening inside the guild, I can see it very easily imploding. I can see the core raiders going one way. I can see the casual friends going another. I can see people maintaining friendships through friend list only. And that is very disruptive to a community. Now, communities can evolve and change. I guided a community from friend invite to raid progression. I've done that before. It can happen. But when it happens, it needs to be clearly stated. Guys, here's the thing. I've heard you guys talking. A vast majority of people are really interested in this raid progressions thing that they've been reading about. We're going to change our focus. Please, if you want to come along, but if you don't want to, we understand. So you can actually evolve a community, but it has to be done from the top down. But you have to listen to the little people. And you have to remember that just because someone isn't, quote-unquote, a core raider or core PvPer, they still have a voice, and they can still have a huge impact, because all it takes is one person who just happened to, be friendly and make friends with everybody, which I've had happen in a guild before, came in, made friends with everybody, and all it took was them disagreeing with one thing, one decision that I made, and the whispers started. And that tiny person who wasn't involved in anything was doing it in such a, as you were saying earlier, Anu, the people who can actually make dirt sound like gold, they're dangerous, especially when they have the ear of others who actually can have a huge impact. If you can find the person who's doing it, blank. That's not
Find him and
always...
crush him.
Viking raid. Woo! All right.
I'm just saying.
The American way.
Oh, don't you start. Don't you start.
I've held off.
Right.
Listen, let's keep our gloves on. Let's keep the gloves on. Don't start it.
I have to state, I have seen a lot of people make quite a few different comments about the different sides inside the guild chat, or in the guild chat.
Yeah.
Wow. I have now officially dubbed the chat of the Campfire Guild chat. That obviously means something.
Okay.
Welcome to the Campfire Guild, everybody. Guild and community. Woohoo! Shows how screwed my brain is.
Somebody get this girl a nap. Go to sleep.
I also need a raise, but that's a whole different story. Okay, so I want to thank everyone who's having the communications in there, because there was a question by the Hive who was asking about, you know, how people feel about doing guild accomplishments and games and things like that. So, you know, for the fact that you guys got involved in that, thank you so very, very much. I am, however, going to move us, because we're actually at a point where we're supposed to end, but that, to me, that you can't make that story short. So I'm sorry I'm keeping you guys for longer. However, what we're going to do now is we're going to throw our attention back to our lovely guest, and we're going to say, dude, we're talking about trailblazers. We're talking about highlighting a community that is, for some strange reason, deserving of highlighting. And you actually get to pick as the guest. So you can, if you wish, brag and invite and even make mention of whatever you want. What community do you want to highlight this week?
Could it be greedy and highlight 3?
Yes, it could be Gradient Highlight 3.
Okay. First would be Boon Control, second would be Afterlife, and third would be my own. What a lot of people don't seem to understand is the fact that competition can make great friends. I mean, you can really, really get absolutely pissed off with someone on a forum, and you could have so many shenanigans with them, and you could feel like you hate them, but then when it all comes down to it, you've actually got respect for that person. You've actually got respect for that organization and that guild as well. And just the simple fact that all these years have gone by, that like myself, Screen, and Katie Chops, we all still talk to each other. We all still reminisce about the good old days and all the rest of it. Shut up, Blank. You know, it's...
I didn't know this was going to be a circle jerk.
It's a key driver in people actually playing games. You know, it's and that's what a lot of people and a lot of companies don't actually understand. That competition makes people play. Without that core competition there, people aren't going to play your product for long. It's going to be a month and then gone. Look at Star Wars. You know, people laughed that game completely and utterly out of the water, even though it's making money now because it's gone free to play and they're ripping people off. But it's basically
hold back.
Competition. You know me, I don't hold back. But competition is what drives people, whether it be PvE, PvP, roleplay, whatever. Competition is at the core of every single game that you play. Whether it's to compete against yourself in your head, whether it's to compete against something that's on the screen, or whether it's to compete against another group. Competition is what sells a game.
I will state competition has another name. It's also called motivation.
Yes.
And you are dead right. And I don't want people to think that, I'm not competitive. No, I'm not competitive. If you have ever said to yourself, I am going to be better today than I was yesterday, that's competition. It's just internal, and it's a bit of a motivation. So just wanted to throw that in there. So you want to give props then to Boon Control. You want to give props then to Afterlife Gaming. And then finally, you want to give props to yourself, building the triumvirate of the PvP masses for the EU. And the
props
world,
to ourselves because we've kept in touch with the lesser folk. You know, it's our outreach program.
Oh, that is great. Okay, do you happen to know Boon Control's website?
We don't have the time for this.
Yes.
What is Boon Control's website?
Booncontrol.com.
Yes.
And that's Boon, not Boom.
So that will be www.boon Boon, B-O-O-N, control, CONTROL.com, all one
I
word.
can imagine people that
It's
go
a
to
Scottish guild.
bincontrol.com.
And then Afterlife.
Oh god.
He doesn't know that.
What is Afterlife's website
For
on
anyone
there?
that doesn't know what it is, it's
I have to Google.
www.afterlife-gaming.eu.
Yes, EU different than net. Net different than EU. Don't get yourselves confused there. And then finally, your website for VOTF.
VOTF.net.
And I just also want to throw out there, you guys call yourself VOTF. Do you do that on purpose instead of calling or naming your full acronym?
Yes.
Go on.
Ever since that stupid bloody Transformers film, which we were out before of, by the way, I will remind you of. But it started in EVE a long time ago, 11 years. But it's Vengeance of the Fallen is what the actual name stands for.
Should have sued
Same
him.
number of same number of explosions, less gratuitous shots of
Lens
Megan
flare
Fox.
everywhere. Oh my god.
This is my cease and desist. You guys took our name. Go check out the DMCA. Been here longer, bro. Sorry.
You know what you should probably do then, just for fun and for community building, especially with people who make the awesome image that you currently have up there right now for yourself, is you should make a competition to come up with what the acronym stands for now and completely change it.
Oh, we've had a couple of those, but I wouldn't be able to actually repeat what they are.
Of course not.
Yeah.
So basically,
But they've
for
been
those
given
who
to
aren't-
us by other people.
just so that you are aware, people, it is probably likely that Anu's guild is adult.
Yes. Well,
You mean in content, right? Like in what they say, but not how they act.
Right.
physically, yes. Mentally, no.
Right. There we go.
Yeah.
Right. Now it is
Thank
time
you.
for us to move on to the last part of our show, which is where we give out a little bit of props to people. There are a couple of people who I want to give props to, and I am going to start by telling people about a charity event that's going to be coming up. Now, this charity event was actually supposed to take place last year, but there were it was difficult to get everything scheduled, really is the best way to put it, because this is not just a European charity event. This is a European, whack the mic, United States, and also like literally all over the world. So the Oceanias and everything can get involved. But it is going to be a 24-hour gaming marathon for Child's Play, which is really big, awesome news. Now, there's not a lot of information as to when it's coming out. I know that it will be in the next couple months, and I want to get the ball rolling on people being aware of it now. Because the reality is, we need the gamers. So their website is healingovertime.org. It is brilliant. It is simple. Sign up for their newsletter. And their Twitter and their Facebook's there. Get involved. Say your piece. Let people know. Support. Spread the word.
Yep.
You're
butt in about
involved
that
in
a
that
little
one.
bit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Go on.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. So healing over time, as you've seen, is as Sudo said, is going to be to help Child's Play, which is a fantastic charity. If you look for Healing Over Time on Google, you'll find the website. Go and have a look. It's going to be, as I said, 24-hour charity stream. It will include Afterlife. We've got VOTF, Boon Control. Hopefully, the guys at Subterfuge might be interested. We've got the guys from Relics of War and Guild Wars 2, Enigma as well. It's looking like the end of March, roughly, we're looking for time-wise. But we'll see when we confirm that. There's been nothing. Take that as pencil that in, but don't book time off yet.
Yeah.
That'll come out from the organisers. Long story short, we did look to do it earlier on last year, but it kind of, once we got the US guys involved, everything kind of ballooned a bit. And yeah, the organisers are fantastic people. Tasha, Drake from Mystic Spiral, and along with a couple of other community managers are organising that, and they are fantastic people. So go and have a look, and it's going to be well worth going to. It's going to be great. There's going to be prizes as well for donators. I believe they're looking to do that.
They're looking to do little
even
things
if
like
you
that.
Donate
I kind of wanted to wait it until they announced that to actually let all the balls drop, but apparently screens are like, I'll tell you what, all the stuff.
Well. It
almost as bad as my ducks.
She'll rake me over hot coals if I wasn't supposed to say that. Yep.
Yeah, as she should.
On you.
As she should. But yes, I wanted to get that in there as soon as possible with the concept that as more gets revealed, we will bring you more as well. And I can tell you that MMO Buff is going to be involved in that too. So it's not just going to be guilds, it's also going to be us as well. Which, as I have now dubbed the chat part of our guild, we have a guild. So weird. But anyway. The final thing that I just want to mention is the fact that I wanted to give a shout out to a really awesome community group that is just trying to pull other communities together. If you have never heard of KTAM Radio, it's well worth a look. They actually have a whole bunch of stuff, and they do talk about games. They do talk about a variety of stuff, but they also believe in pulling communities together. Get in touch with them, in particular with Kevin, and I will put the information up in just a second. Tell him the things you're interested in and hear what he has to say. Maybe something will appeal to you, maybe it won't, but he's looking for lots of communities to get together and support things. There's an avenue for you. And like I said, check out their interviews, check out their shows. They're actually really good. And I guess that kind of leads us up to the final point where I basically bring everybody up and I throw the lights out thing up and I'm all like, oh my God, what the heck? How did time pass so fast?
And you did all the talking. That's how it passed. That's what happened.
I spoke too much. You
spoke too much or too little?
I could have gone on for a bit longer, but I mean...
What I need to do is...
This is why we don't let him near people.
Well, fair enough. I will, again, thank you big time, Anu, for joining us. I know that it was sort of a toss-up, and I'm glad to know you got your dates right. I'm also glad to know that you're feeling better, and I know that we will have you on a future show. I also want to let people know that next week we have Aiko from Immortalis Noctis joining us.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes, and that'll be a fun one, too. If you are interested...
That depends if he gets in. He'll understand that.
No butter. Anyway, if you are interested in potentially becoming a guest on one of our Campfire shows, or if you have a scenario you wish for us to discuss, or you have questions, comments, concerns, feedback, we're all ears, let us know. Get in touch again, MMOBuff.TV, click contact, and I will watch it and I will consume all the stuff you send to me. A big thank you again to Stout Pint. He's up to story number 3. Can anyone beat him? That's what I want to see.
Or break his fingers. Either one.
We will not condone violence.
How you do it's up to you.
No, but yeah, please get in touch. Let us know. And I also know that we have some secret guests that are planned that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. And neither is Screen. I'm looking at you. Naughty, naughty Screen. But yes.
You said they're secret this time.
Now I'm going to let each of you say goodbyes in your own little ways. Any shout outs or anything that you wish to do. And then we will do our little dance stuff until it's time to go. So, Anu, as the guest of honor, you get to say bye first. Or you could just be gone already. Oh, cool.
Bye. No, I'm still here. I'd like to actually thank Kebab for doing this image so quickly. I mean, he did it within 5 minutes. He's like a god with graphics, and again, he's done all the graphics for the website and stuff, and I'd like to thank him. Jackie for basically being my second hand. He is easily the biggest part of the guild for me. He helps me so much. Like I literally couldn't do it all anymore without Jackie. Then the rest of my officers, Teal, Vic, Myth as well, who we stole from Redguard, by the way. Well, hey.
If we can't kill you, we'll convert you.
Exactly.
Okay. And go ahead, Screen. You get to say your bye-byes just in case your internet decides to poof in the middle of you talking.
It's still there, roughly. No, I'm still here. No, thanks for coming, everyone, and maybe one day we'll get Katie Chops on the show.
Oh God, two people can't understand.
That sounds like fun.
He has no idea who that is, but anyway.
Go ahead, Blank.
It was nice to have Anu here. Definitely getting to see these guys. And shh.
It's the only time you're going to hear that.
Just take it. It's okay. I know these guys have a long history. It was kind of cool to hear his perspective. It was good to see you again. And let's not do this again for another year. I mean, just, you know.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see. And I, of course, want to thank every single one of you who has come today. Thanks for showing up. Please spread the word. Note that we will be here every single Tuesday talking campfire things. Tomorrow, I am going to be hosting Top Draw, where we talk about online TCGs with Marshmallow, who is scarily intelligent. Fridays are Cosmotronic show with Gazimov, Kai Dream, and Mizpah. And then next Monday, well, we'll just have to wait and see. But I'll be there too. I'm on all the things. Do all the shows. I need a picture of me with that, with the just, yeah. Anyway. And thank you to everyone for showing up. And yeah, see you guys either tomorrow, Friday, next week, etc.